Hi. Welcome to our channel. I'm Jess.
And I'm Minnie.
Together we are the Wolf Sisters. We're very excited to be here. We are here to give you our insights on the best and worst in entertainment, and sometimes just to make you laugh.
We review the most popular and watch TV shows and movies, so let's get started.
Today we will be reviewing season 1 of Ginny Georgia from Netflix. Let's get to it.
So with Ginny Georgia, first what we're going to start with is we're going to enter all of the cast members. The main characters, which is Ginny, Georgia, Austin, and Paul. Georgia is Brianna Howey. Ginny is Antonia Gentry. Austin is Diesel La Torraca. I could be pronouncing that incorrectly. And then you've got Paul, who is played by Scott Porter.
Then we've got the twins, Max and Marcus, who are played by Felix, Mallard, and Sara, Waisglass, and their mom, Jennifer Robertson. Then we have Joe, played by Raymond Ablack, and Zion, played by Nathan Mitchell. Hunter is played by Mason Temple, and Abby is played by Katie Douglas.
Okay, so now that we've gone over the cast, we are going to just jump into the summary of the show for everybody. So to summarize what the entire season is about, or the show is about, since it is a new show on Netflix, it is about a mother-daughter combination. In the movie, this is not our view, but in the movie they refer to themselves as the modern-day Gilmore Girls. So it's a young mother who got pregnant at a young age and had to learn how to survive on her own without any guardianship or parental supervision. It covers the immaturity of the 30-year-old mother and the maturity of the 15-year-old daughter. They also have the son Austin, who is a part of it, but there's no real mature or not mature. He is, I believe, 9 years old, maybe younger.
Yeah, there's not really a huge plot going for him. He's kind of, a fill-in. He's got a smaller role. Like Minnie said, they call themselves the Gilmore Girls. I don't agree with that. The mom, Georgia, she calls herself Georgia, and she's very much can make men do anything. She knows how to manipulate people. She manipulates people to get what she wants, and she's been doing it, you can tell, from a very, very young age. And her daughter is used to seeing that. So Ginny is used to seeing her mother get what she wants and make people do what she wants. And in fact, I think in the opening scene, she says 2 things you can get from men: passion and power. And they say that repeatedly throughout a lot of episodes. That's very much how Georgia sees the world, is that there's things to get from people, and she will do whatever it takes to get them. Yeah. Let's see.
So it goes over the struggles of being a young mother, trying to raise a teenager, and not really, she knows how to do it in a sense, but how she's doing it is she's trying to make sure that her daughter does not do any of the same things that she did, or she doesn't want her to go through what she went through. So she's basically trying to protect her kids, I would say primarily Ginny, to not have to face the struggles that she did when she was her age or younger. So she's been trying to give her kids the best life that she didn't get when she was younger.
And you're thinking struggles oh, okay, everybody has struggles, but it really gets into it. As far as ratings go, this is not for young children. This is not for the tweens to be watching. It's some dark material.
Yeah, there is dark material.
It's like some pretty awful struggles that she goes through and why she sees the world the way that she does. And so she's trying to the whole series starts with her trying to turn her life around for her kids and get them to a better spot, get them more opportunities and do more for them. You can tell she's very motivated by, power and money. But you're really kind of unsure if Ginny sees the world the same way. And so I think season 1 is about watching Ginny decide if she wants to be like her mom or not, if she wants to be her own person and not be like her mom, or if she wants to. And so I feel like this show really delves into all of the things that we think about our parents when we're that age, and how the veil is kind of pulled from our eyes. You know, we think of our parents one way, and then slowly you start to realize that they're just humans, that they make mistakes like everybody else, and that they don't have all the answers. They aren't what we thought they were. And you get to see Ginny go through this. I mean, she basically goes through every natural thing that a teenager goes through. I like to think of it as, you know, it takes you to that place in your childhood that you'd basically rather forget. And it's even worse in the case of, you know, this is modern day. So being, you know, raised in the 90s, like, you know, sex and drugs and all that stuff, like, that wasn't talked about, at least for me, until I was maybe 17, 18. But it's, you know, it's a common theme here, and Ginny's barely 15, I think, or turning 16 as we enter into. So, you know, it's definitely more modern aged. It was very educational for a mom of a tween to see what it's like for teenagers today.
Yeah. So some of the things that it actually covers, it doesn't cover everything in one episode. It actually spread it out. So it covers things like sex, and they go over Plan B. So they're basically going over how to have safe sex. If you didn't have a condom, then you go get Plan B. And it shows, you know, that happening. It also covers lesbians and gays and how they, you know, what they go through. It also covers self-harm. It covers body dysmorphia. It covers sexting. It covers internet fame, and so when you get famous and what that feels like versus once you're not famous anymore, and or now you have people that are criticizing you because of they also don't share the same view of you. So it goes through both of those things in one scene, like one episode, where she gets really famous from the internet, and then showing the decline and how she keeps reading all the comments and getting really upset over what people are saying about her in the comments. So, I mean, it does cover a lot of what I believe our teenagers are going through these days.
Overall plot, I think it wasn't easy to follow, but it wasn't really hard either. They do cover a lot of material in general in like one episode. I can't pinpoint things because there was just so much material in one episode that it became kind of annoying to try to follow. I did feel like I was in the life of a teenager, and it was like, man, you know, emotions and hormones on parade, you know, very much.
But like as an adult watching that,
it was just annoying. It really just was annoying.
I wouldn't get along if I was growing up right now. I wouldn't get along with these teenagers. Like there was so It didn't jive with me at all.
Oh no,
so
me either. I mean, after about 3 episodes, I had enough. Yeah. I really was bored. I needed a stronger moral compass from someone.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was Georgia, and we just need to wait and see more. And there's still a possibility that, you know, there's more to uncover about Georgia.
Yeah.
But with the, you know, they're really delivering it in a way that's like you get bits and pieces. And then you also have, you know, these strong character moments between Ginny and Georgia where you're like, okay, like this is a strong relationship.
Yeah.
But their relationships overall, I don't feel connected to many of the relationships. There's a couple lesbian relationships that I really like rooted for, and I was really like, yes, like I can't wait for them to get together. But they didn't really tell those stories in a way that made me want to connect with them, because they were just like that teenage relationships where nothing they'd really do makes sense, and their hormones are all over the place. So I was waiting for like there to be a moral compass from the adults stepping in and guiding the kids. And
I wanted someone to be smart.
Yes.
I wanted someone to be that. I mean, whether it was Georgia or another adult figure, like I wanted someone for Ginny to go to and actually feel like she was being heard and feel like she was being listened to, because there were moments with Georgia where that happened, but that was like few and far between, because they both kept so many secrets from one another, and that's like the scariest thing about being a parent, is like your kids are going to have secrets from you. But the one thing that, you know, they talked about from Ginny's perspective, she said she started having the sex talk at 7 years old, and so going through, you know, 8 years of having the sex talks with your mother, and then you have sex for the first time and you don't tell your mom, that just doesn't correlate with me, because if you talked about it and you had those mom sit down conversations with your daughter and you prepared them and you said, please let me know when this becomes a thing, and then the daughter just doesn't come through, you can see that there's like a certain level of mistrust between mother-daughter. And that, you know, that was really underwhelming for me, because I was thinking that she was going to tell her mom, because they had talked about other things. Like when she got drunk and when she got high and whatever. Like, she talked to her mom about those things. So where was the sex thing? If they've been talking about it since she was 7, why was Ginny so not okay to tell her mother? Was it because the boy told her to keep it on the down low? He didn't want anybody to know, so Ginny felt like that was also something she had to keep from her mom. Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yes, so the relationship aspect was really hard to get around a lot of them. I will say, you know, they presented it in a way that made it relatable. As if I was a teenager watching it, I totally could be like, oh, I can relate to all the feelings. I can relate to all the back and forth and all the miscommunications and things like that. So it was presented well, but it was really hard to really connect and make that connection to where you wanted and you were invested, you know, and for someone who gets easily invested in things, it was like, I'm just bored.
I was very bored too, and I don't get invested. And so I was just, why? Like, this show, I mean, it could have been put together better, in my opinion. I mean, I've seen other shows where it's similar teenage situations and it goes through the different circumstances that, you know, teenagers are going through, and they were handled much more delicately as well as educationally. Not just, I'm going to put this in here because I need to put this in here and I want it to seem like a real teenager's life. It just felt like there was no real purpose for each of them being introduced into the show, which to me felt uncohesive. So it was just like, oh, we should talk about this. Let's just throw it into this scene and it will be in this scene and whatever. Like, that's just how I felt like the movie was put together. So I don't know if it was a director or a producer standpoint that somebody failed there, but it just didn't sit well with me. And the movie or the show altogether, in my opinion, just very flat, I could see what was going to happen next. I could see that, you know, Ginny was going to get into this situation and then she wasn't going to tell her mom about it, but she'd tell her friends, and her friends are going to give her the wrong and the worst advice ever on how she should handle it. And then the mother was doing her own thing on the other side, not even worrying about the fact that her daughter was doing these things and that her son was doing these things and having these problems. When they, you know, it definitely seemed like they tried to portray her as like their guardian, like not in the sense of that it was their mom, but like she was their protector. She would come to their aid. Like, it showed
definitely
that quite
more
a bit.
Protector than parent.
Yeah,
like she took her role as protector very seriously, but when it came to like being a parent and guiding them, she really had no clue at all.
Yeah,
and I mean, and that reminds me that we should mention that there were parents who were in touch, like the twins, Max and Marcus. Their parents were in touch, but they still were not involved enough. At least I can see how they'd want to be, but the way that the film was, you know, the show was presented was not presented to us showing that they had more involvement.
Right.
They were the kind of parents that wanted to know what was going on, that they were involved in every aspect of their kids' lives. So there were some like good representations of parents who, in my opinion, are doing what, you know, you'd expect to see parents to be doing. So you had enough examples, but overall, you know, it was still just not presented in a way that we could connect with. So final scores. What do we think? Well, mine was 2 out of 5 stars. Not my favorite.
Mine was only 1 out of 5.
So not the best. Hopefully next time, whatever's popular, whatever's out there on TV or movies will be one that we love just as much as the rest of you guys. Let us know what you think, though, of Ginny and Georgia. We want your feedback, too. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? We're about to go into our favorite moments, our opinion on the worst moments. So now would be the time to stop watching if you don't want spoilers. Thank you so much for watching this far. We can't wait to see what you have to say.
Bye. Okay, so we're going to go over favorite moments first and favorite characters first. So what was your favorite character?
My favorite character was easily Maxine. She is funny, she's spirited, she's outspoken, she's just such a bright light, and you can just see that she wears her heart on her sleeve. She just, I just love her so much. My other favorite character is Joe. I think Joe's character is completely so well written. God, he's just the nicest guy. He is there for everybody, but nobody's there for him. Like, he's just so, they just slate right over him, you know? But I just love him so much. My other favorites are, I do really like Max and Marcus's mom. Like, Ellen, yeah, I really do like Ellen. And I do like Zion, like, as a person, you know, so those are probably my favorites.
Yeah, so my favorites are Joe. So I liked him. I liked his character development because in the very beginning it shows that, you know, George is kind of a priss with him, but then, like, they become friends, and he just seems very, like...
Who's George?
Georgia.
Oh, you said George.
Sorry, Georgia.
I was like, who's George?
But, like, in the very beginning, they were not kosher, and then, like, they became friendly and whatever, and I was totally like, go for Joe, don't go for
But then you
Paul.
learned about their background. Like, then you learned about how they met, and it just melts your heart. Like, I thought that was really clever to, like, intertwine the You
times.
find out that that's why she came to Wellsbury,
yeah.
was because of the little tiny connection they made as teenagers when she was, you know, just bumming it from one place to another, and Joe was the one person that showed her this, like, genuine kindness.
Yeah.
And he gave her a sandwich, and they talked about horses, and, you know, they made a connection, and she really remembered that. She remembered his kindness and the impression that he made on her,
Yeah.
and...
Well, and...
So you find out through the whole season, they kind of give you little bits and pieces, and you find out, you know, you find out with them, because they both, neither of them really recognized that right away, that they knew each other and had met before, but they, you know, they take you through it and you eventually find out.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry, the other favorites.
So my other favorite is Hunter. And this is up until probably episode 8. Past that, I just, you know, I didn't care for him anymore. But the reason why I liked him was because he was a smart boy. So, like, that's what he had going for him. I didn't find him attractive, maybe because he is a teenager and I'm older, so I was just kind of meh. But, like, even looking at him in that way, I was just kind of turned off by the idea of him. So it wasn't about a physicality. It was more of he was very intellectual. He was very respectful to Ginny, but also other girls. He didn't just, like, have this jock thing going for him. He actually was getting, you know, was a straight A student. Not that they say that, but that's kind of how I felt about him. And the way that he was with Ginny was very respectful, and it wasn't all about sex and making out and holding hands and being intimate.
That's a good point. It was a healthy relationship.
Yeah, like, he was like, oh, here's a book, and I made notes in here, and, like, it's from my sister, and she's in college, and these were all her notes, and blah, blah, blah. Not even knowing that that was a thing that Ginny shared with her father, that he would send her books and make notes in them.
Yeah.
And, you know, things that he liked about the book, so that while Ginny read, she got to know her dad a little bit more. So not knowing that about her father, and he did the same thing for her, I thought that was very sweet. And then when it came down to the whole sexting thing, he didn't respond to her, and she was upset over it. But when he explained why he didn't, he said, I was trying to respect you.
Yeah.
I didn't want to reply and be like, ooh la la, you're so hot, because I wanted you to know that I respect you, and even though I find you attractive and I find you hot, that's not why I like you. That's not why I'm with you. So those are my two favorite.
I gotta give it that, you know, a little earlier, I think I said that, you know, that the relationships were really hard to connect with. And while they were, that was the one relationship that Hunter was doing everything right. It was like, date Hunter already. Like, Hunter was a really great example of every teenager you want your kids to date. And it was just really frustrating to watch Ginny make all the mistakes and not learn from any of them. And that even though she realized that Hunter was a really great guy, she still, for some reason, was like, nope, I'm rejecting, like, everything about this. Like,
it goes with the whole nice guys finish last. Like, that's essentially what I felt like she was doing to him.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Marcus was not, he was a bad boy. He
was.
didn't want to be out in the open with her and be like, oh, let's, like, profess our undying lives to each other in front of
he was
other
the
people.
arrogant ass, the one with the motorcycle.
And he did drugs and
yeah.
whatever. Like, so he was the bad boy, and
He was
so
the dark and brooding guy. You know, I
went
totally
along
would have
with that
gone for that.
stereotype of nice guys don't get the girls, essentially. Yeah. And that frustrated me too, because I was like, no.
Well, that leads me though to another, like, I have very few favorites about this whole series, okay? To be frank, it was not my favorite. Like, I could go without watching it again. But if I had to pick some favorites, one of my favorite things about it was that it does kind of cover all the stereotypes. Is that, you know, for kids today that don't know what a stereotype is, it goes all the way across the board. I mean, the first kiss, the power plays with a boy, like, the stereotypes about lesbians and the LGBT community, the stereotypes about, you know, different races. They really get into, like, race and talking about that, stealing, the types of kids who steal, smoking pot, trying drugs for the first time. I mean, every stereotype, you name it, I'm pretty sure that they cover it. And that was one of my things that was, you know, kind of my favorite about it was, they do stay very real in that aspect.
The only stereotype teenage, like, clique that they didn't go into like every other show is the jock cheerleader. That was the only thing that wasn't really present. And I liked that, because even though that, from our 90s days, that's like the clique that everybody presented in a show, this one, it was like modern day. Maybe jocks and cheerleaders aren't that same stereotype and clique that they used to be in the 90s when we were growing up. Yes. So that was like a fresh perspective of, they didn't add that into there. So maybe that's not a thing anymore. I mean, we haven't been in school for who knows how long. So that was nice to not see that as a clique. But it was definitely like the rainbow down the hallway, and like certain people sat in the green section, certain people sat in the red section, purple, yellow, etc.
Well, that was kind of why it was a favorite for me too.
That was the cliques.
It was informational for me as a parent who's raising a young person. It was like, so this is what it looks like, because the stereotypes are all still there, but this is what it looks like today. Yeah. And I think it was pretty accurate, the way that it portrayed it, the way that it described it and showed it all, you know. And so I found it very informative, for that. Yeah.
So what was one of your favorite moments?
Favorite moments? Oh man, adult content here. Which the show, you know, has a lot of adult content, but oh my god, I got a kick out of when Georgia was in her room and she couldn't sleep right. This woman has insomnia like crazy. And so one of my favorite moments that is like the first ones I can think of is in the early part of the season. She's trying to sleep and she can't, so she pulls out her vibrator and she starts trying to use her vibrator, and instantly it just dies. And so you just see the frustration on her face, and I just... the struggle is real, folks.
It's funny. It was funny. So my favorite moment was the slam poetry. So when the dad got up there, when Zion got up there and was...
That was so badass. I love that moment.
Doing his poetry to his daughter. I thought that was really cute. But then I also really liked her... I guess it was a slam poem for her essay. But I really liked her...
That was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was my favorite part. So now that we've covered that, let's go into the worst moments, or based on opinion, what was the worst moment for you?
The worst moment for me. Oh man, there's way too many of those. I'm not sure I can narrow those down. Can we say every interaction that Georgia had with Joe?
Oh,
like,
those are
she's
pretty bad.
just a bitch. Okay, she's a bitch to everybody. I mean, she's that bitch we all hate, really. There's very few redeeming moments for her, like redeeming quality moments. I pretty much was just like, God, show us the good side of Georgia. Like, I was waiting for that, you know? I could relate to her better when it showed when she was younger and it kept doing flashbacks. But God, as a woman today, I was just like, oh my hell. And I'm a protector type parent, you know? Like, I totally get the protector vibe that she's got going on, but I still was like, no, like, you're going about this all wrong. You say one thing, you do another. Like, I'm just so surprised that your daughter is as smart as she is. Like,
yeah,
good on her.
I was surprised too. But so going along with that, who is your most hated character, or like you really didn't like that person?
You know, Paul bugged me. Paul really bugged me, especially as like his character developed. He started to bug me more and more. And every time he tried to like bond with Austin, it really bugged me. I don't know why, because it was like supposedly like one of those stereotypical like cutesy moments, but it pissed me off. I don't, you know, Nora and Abby, they were part of the girl clique with Maxine and Ginny, but Abby irritated me the most. She'd have these really like eye-opening moments where you were like, wow, she's like really mature. She's really smart. Like, her parents are therapists. She really seems to get this. But then she was the one that seemed to have most of the, like, the most deep-seated issues. And she kept making really stupid decisions. And I was like, you know, you're smarter than this. And I just kept telling her through the screen, like, you're smarter than this. Like, stop making these decisions. Stop chasing that stupid guy who's treating you like trash. Like, why? Why, girl? And then every time she was like that stereotypical girl who kept like doing insane, stupid things to get attention. She was doing it for the attention. And I hate those type of people, like, drive me crazy as it is. Like, I really wish I like feel for them, and I really wish I could help them a lot. But to watch it on the show, I mean, it was really, really hard to watch. I mean, the rest of the characters were all pretty like flat, like Minnie was saying. Everybody was pretty flat. So, I mean, it takes a lot for me to, like, you know, the worst characters are not like them. So I can't say that like any of them were really the worst, but those were two. Paul and Abby were probably my least favorite. What about you?
You're gonna hate me because she's your favorite. I hated Maxine.
Really?
I hated her.
Oh,
I couldn't.
Why? You didn't like her? She was so fun, and maybe that's why you found it annoying, because she was just so like
she was
way too flamboyant, probably, huh?
No, it wasn't even flamboyant. She was just too much. Like, and every time she said, "I'm triggered," I wanted to smack her.
But she was being funny.
No,
like,
it wasn't funny. It was annoying.
She was so humorous just naturally. Like, half the time her comments, that's what she was doing. She was just being funny, and she was
most of the time while I watched her, I was either thinking, she is so annoying, get her off of the screen. Please move on to a different scene. Or that she was incredibly awkward. Like, she just was so awkward.
She has some awkward
moments.
Her. The poor thing.
Okay, so my worst moment.
Worst moment.
The worst moment. When it was Ginny's birthday. And Hunter decided he was gonna surprise her with a tap dance. Who does that? Who is like, I love you so much, and I'm gonna tap dance to the happy birthday song.
I'm gonna get my friends and to come in the hallway too and everything, and we're all gonna tap for you.
It was like a flash dance of tap dancing, and I couldn't handle it. I was just like, could you not do this a different way? Like, hip hop, okay, do like
it was
some
sweet.
cute,
Minnie,
sexy,
it was sweet.
whatever with hip hop music. But one, the song was "Happy Birthday."
It was romantic.
And the second
guys.
is he's tap dancing down the hallway of the school. No, like this, it wasn't sweet. It was annoying. It was like, I felt so embarrassed for him because he is tapping down the freaking hallway, and Ginny's down there like, oh, hey, you're so cute. I was just, whoa, both of you, this is wrong. Please don't ever do this again. I don't understand what's going on here. This is not okay. I hated that.
Oh,
moment.
that triggers like one of the worst moments for me though is I was really getting to like Ginny just when I was really starting to like her, and then kind of a shout out to what you had brought up earlier. When she just jumps into bed with Marcus for the first time, that really, I mean, it's teenagers we're dealing with, okay, and the teen hormones. I get it. Totally get it. But she jumped into bed with him so fast, and it really ticked me off. It was one of the worst moments because she had never had sex. She had literally just met him. So it made sense when she grabbed him and planted a kiss on him right there in the driveway. That was a little off base because, like, literally she just said hello a few minutes earlier and then was kissing him.
Yeah.
And then literally that same night he climbs through a window and they have sex, and it's like,
right.
What?
And she allowed it.
She did. She didn't say anything. She didn't ask. I mean, they didn't even talk.
Well, she made the comment of like, you climbed through my window. That's a little something and rapey. And then he kisses her, and she's like, "Wow, you just kissed me after I used the word rapey." And
right. So she seems all clear-headed, but then she still is like.
But then she continues to kiss him, and then they have sex. And so to me, I was like, one, you just told him that was totally cool to come in through your window because you didn't tell him, get out of my room, you need to leave, this is inappropriate. You didn't do any of that. So of course he's going to keep coming back through your window because you didn't set the boundaries. You didn't tell him that that's not okay.
Seriously, and coming from a hopeless romantic, teenagers that are watching this, it is not okay for a man to come climbing through your window. I don't care how romantic it is or what kinds of nice things he says. That's not normal. That's not okay.
That's not okay.
Especially when he comes through your window and then he just starts making out with you when you met, like, 4 hours earlier that day.
Yeah.
That is like definition of creeper, and that's coming from the woman who fell in love with Angel the first time she saw him on TV, and he was just like this dark, brooding, mysterious hunk of a man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let him climb through my window. Like, come on.
Creepy.
Come on, teenagers. Creepy. Come on. Be smarter than this. Like, that was the worst moment for me. Like, the second time they had sex was more like, okay, I got it, but not that first time. That was just one of those unnecessary, let's throw this in to throw in some sex, which, mind you, they don't show everything. I mean, they definitely like don't show any nudity as far as private parts, but like they showed them in the position. They showed them, kind of getting together and the sheets kind of ruffling and stuff, and then
so the sex
you're all kind of uncomfortable because they're teenagers, know they're virgins, and I think it was good that it shows how uncomfortable you're having sex your first time is, because it is. So they captured that really well, but it was just like a very odd place to put that in there.
And definitely something to note. There are quite a few sex scenes, but just know that they're not explicit. They, it's a lot of, if you're an adult, the conversation, we get what's going on. We get that's where that, that's leading or headed. But it doesn't show anything. There are no naked bodies or whatever. There's just, the context of what's happening because you can see what's going on under the covers, or you can see that it's leading there because they start derobing, but that doesn't show anything outside of that. So if you are planning to watch it with another teen, or something, that just know that those scenes are not there. And so
final thoughts. It's not like Gilmore Girls. Okay. Want to make that very clear. It does, you might find this is a common theme for me in my reviews, but it has a very, I could sum it up in a Buffy episode, really. I could sum up the entire season. There's one particular part where Buffy is talking to someone in an episode, and she says, my life happens to, on occasion, suck beyond the telling of it. Sometimes more than I can handle. All of those people are ignoring your pain because they're too busy with their own. The beautiful ones, the smart ones, the guys that pick on you, all of them. It looks quiet down there, but it's not. It's deafening. And that really sums up the season for me. That's all the kind of things that's going on. That's what's going on with all the teenagers, and all of them are all pissed off at each other for one reason or another, for somebody else not paying attention to them. And it's true. That's how life goes, and that's really kind of what it made me think of. I do want to give a shout out for all parents everywhere. Thank you for the 411. Thank you for, you know, informing those of us who are raising kids. That was very awesome. I do wonder, like, where things are going to go from here. I did find out that the show is getting renewed. I can't remember the source, but it is getting renewed for a second season.
I'm not reviewing it. I'm not.
If you want us to review it, we definitely can, but it'll be tough going. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
The way that the season ended was with her riding off on into the sunset with her brother, escaping the way things were going because she had found out the truth about her mom. That had a very, you know, season 2 ending of Buffy feel to it. Like, after she felt like her whole world had crumbled, she was you know, she was grabbing everything and running. So, you know, you do kind of wonder, like, well, does Georgia find out that Ginny now knows the truth about her, and what will she do? Where will Ginny go? How long will she be gone? Will she come back? Things like that. So overall, I think it gets the 2 stars because the 1 star is for, you know, the cast. They cast people really well. It was a very diverse cast. Their acting chops were great. And I give it the 2nd star because it had a lot of value. I saw a lot of value in there for teenagers, but I definitely don't think I'd want my teenager watching it alone.
Yeah,
I'd want to be watching it with my teenager because
that's the only reason I gave it a 1.
There's too much going on, and I want to be able to explain that to my teenager and go through those moments with them. I mean, as a mom, it really, like, resonated with me for a lot of that stuff. I was like, oh crap, I really need to make sure I have these conversations with my tween before she gets there, before she gets to that age, you know? So that's really where my 2 stars came in.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked it.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe below so you don't miss future episodes with us. And please let us know if there's a movie or TV show that you'd like us to review. We look forward to reading your comments, hearing your feedback, seeing how we can maybe do better, everything. We are open to it.
Yes, we are so excited to be here with all of you. Keep shining, folks.
Bye.
Bye.